Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Rattlin' On. Let's do Rattlin' On episode 3. I'm your host, Andrew Wells, as always, and yeah, so let's get into it. Today's a pretty good sunny day. I like it. Yesterday was a little bit wild down here in Texas, where I'm at, and we had a severe thunderstorm in the morning. And it's a little early for severe thunderstorms to kick off here. So had a severe thunderstorm in the morning. That got things started. A little thunder and lightning, a little flash and boom to get you up out of the bed in the morning. And then it just got windy. Got crazy windy for this part of Texas. Now there's parts of Texas where the wind gets up to like 60, 70 pretty often. Not down here. We had some sustained wind in like the 40s and 50s with gusts to 60 and 70. It was pretty crazy. And then a bunch of dust came blowing in, and the skies were, you may have seen some of it on social media, the skies were brown, particularly in Dallas. It got very, very dark, brown, apocalyptic looking kind of skies in Dallas, which is not typical for that region. That's more of like a West Texas thing, right? I did see a post. Somebody said, "This is Dallas without Luka," which, yeah, I don't know what the Mavericks were doing. That Luka trade is still crazy to me. But today's nice. All that to say, today's nice. The sky's nice and clear, blue, no clouds. There's a slight breeze. It's cool. It's like in the 60s. It's been a darn good day so far. Didn't start that way for me. I guess I'm just going to do like a little bit of like personal anecdotes here before we get into like some of the news stuff. But I do have a little story, and so that's why I'm gonna mention all this. But this morning I was kind of, it took me a while to get to sleep last night or whatever. I didn't sleep good. I'm trying to fix my sleep a little bit because my sleep is terrible. And, anyways, I woke up groggy. Allergies been bad, what with all the wind and everything too. And so I took one of them little allergy pills, that you take, and that makes me a little bit groggy the next day. So this morning I wake up, I'm like groggy. I'm like a little bit behind schedule. I'm like, crap, dude, I gotta get to the gym before everybody gets there. I gotta leave my house at this specific time to get to the gym so that I can do my workout in this window where there's like not really a lot of people there. And it's like a very small window. So if I miss it, then I'm just like having to dodge people, and you're having to do your workout around people. So I'm running a little bit behind and everything, and that's putting me in a bad mood. I'm like, crap, and I'm gonna miss the gym. And so I get in the car and I'm going to the gym, and I find the most irritating drivers you could ever be behind or be around on the way to the gym. Probably just because I was irritated because I was running late. But these people are just, I can't get in the correct lane because this person's like kind of just hanging out back here in my blind spot. And then I finally get around that person, then I get stuck behind another person that like just refuses to go even the speed limit. Now, I'm not really a speeder. I tend to do I'm boring. Okay, I'm boring. I do the speed limit, all right? But I couldn't get around this person. They weren't even doing the speed limit. I was just like, dude, I'm already running late, son of a bitch, And so finally I get down close to the gym, and I'm making the final turn to get over there. And I'm like, all right, it's not too bad. I'm not too late. Well, the road is closed. The freaking road is closed, man. I can't get, it's right over there, and I can't get to it because the road's closed. So I have to go around, and then I finally get around, and I get parked, and I'm like, all right, man, finally here. I'm kind of late, but it's not bad. I was like, maybe it won't be too bad. Well, I get in there and I get started, and there was 2 other guys in there working out, which is, depending on what gyms all y'all go to, if you go to the gym, you're probably like, what the fuck, dude? That's badass. There's only 2 other guys. Yeah, it's a little bitty gym though. So 2 other guys, very limited equipment. We kind of get in each other's way. But at any rate, I did deadlifts and over at Press today, and yeah, I'm sitting there. I think I was on like my second set of deadlifts, and this guy next to me, he's like, I have my headphones in. I'm working out. I have my headphones in, and there's this guy next to me, and I see him out of the corner of my eye. He's waving his finger up and down, like trying to get my attention, right? And at first I didn't know if that's what he was doing, but he just kept doing it. He just kept doing it. And I was like, okay, I guess this guy wants to say something. So I'm taking my headphone, my earbud out of my ear. I'm like, hey, what's up, man? Like, I didn't know if he needed equipment or what. And he goes, hey, I'm such and such, and introduces himself. And I'm like, oh, hey, dude. Hey, nice to meet you, man. Can I help you? And he said, oh, no. And, I'm just like, what, dude? I'm out of breath, dude, because I just have done like a set. And so I'm like, oh, man. And he says, it's good to see you're lifting heavy weights again. And I was like, what? Thanks, I think. He said, last week, were you on a deload? And I was like, no. I was, he said, I was just wondering what you were doing last week because you were doing a little bit lighter weight. And I was like, dude, is this guy trying to like roast me right now? Or what's happening? And also don't be keeping tabs on me, man. Don't be looking at what I'm doing. Don't watch my weight totals. You're gonna make me feel self-conscious over here. But I was like, no, man, I'm not on a deload. And he's like, oh, so what's going on? Why were you doing lightweight? And I was like, look, man, I feel like he's trying to roast me a little bit. I'm like, I was like, okay. I had an injury last year. Daniel, did I tell you? He said, hey, my name's Daniel. I had an injury last year, Daniel. And so I'm working on getting back into form, I'm checking my form, I'm doing lightweight, and I'm, working back up slowly. To make sure I don't hurt myself again, to make sure the injury is ready to go. And, B, also it's just a good idea to check form, and there's no rush, to get super high weight again or anything. Like, I'm not in a rush. I'm just kind of doing this as kind of like just to generally kind of have some resistance training. I'm not trying to get like, freaking bouldered, I'm not trying to do that. So that's kind of what I told him. I told Daniel this, and it ended up being like a pretty nice interaction, right? I told him the reason. He said, oh, well, I really thought you were on a deload. And I was like, okay. So Daniel learned the term deload and really wanted to use the word deload a lot. And that's cool. I'm trying not to be like an asshole. It was actually a cool interaction. It was just a guy in there. He told me a little bit about what he was up to and what he had accomplished. And I was like, cool, man, that's awesome. I think he was just, I guess he had seen me in there before. Maybe I'm an asshole, but I didn't really recall seeing him before. And so, but it ended up being a pretty neat interaction. And it reminded me that the universe is funny, man. The universe is funny because I'm having like a crappy morning. I'm running behind and I'm like, and then here's this nice interaction with another human being in the gym. And it's just like, oh, okay, dude, I need to not be that way. Right. So anyways, that's kind of how the morning got started, but had a good workout. Hit a couple PRs on some things and then came back and got my walk in. So it's been a pretty good day. So I thought I'd go ahead and record Rattling On. And here I am. I've been rattling on for 10 minutes already. But let's get into some of the political stuff now that my personal anecdotes are out of the way. So it's been a very active couple of weeks, honestly, with politics. I mean, Trump, it's never boring when Trump's in office. We already figured that out the first time he was in office. It's never boring. But not really related to Trump, though. The Epstein files, I want to talk about those because, dude, it was kind of weird, right? So there's been this there was all this like hubbub, like, oh man, Epstein files, finally. Pam Bondi or whatever is like, we're doing the Epstein files. We're putting it out there. Here we go. Like, as promised from the Trump campaign, let's do some Epstein files here. And we're going to tell you all the stuff you've been dying to know. Oh, it's going to be juicy. And, they hyped it up. There's all of this hype. And then they like gave some binders to some right-wing influencers or something. And they're like parading them around like, oh, look what I got. Ooh, look what I got. And it's like, but what are they? Okay. Like, why are we doing like this weird influencer marketing rollout of these critical files relating to kind of a serious situation? It was really weird to me. I thought it was a little strange. Like, this is like people, children and all that, like, are getting, and we're like, ooh, look what I have. There was a funny post by now I know the Babylon Bee is kind of like right wing, right? It can be, but I did think it was they had a funny post I saw where it was like basically like a White House cheerleading squad breaks out Epstein file t-shirt launchers or something. And I was like, yeah, that's what we're looking at, man. What are we doing with? Why are we? I don't know, man. It was weird. And there was like a Rickrolling. Like, we have like official, which is hilarious, honestly, and weird, but kind of hilarious. I think it's kind of funny. Funny isn't, but it's funny to me that they even like, we have like government websites Rickrolling people about like critical things, like important things, and we're like, no, 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 no. Na 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 na. Is that the right song? I think it was. But anyways, yeah, it's just strange to me. So yeah, I think that was a swing and a miss. I guess they did release some information, but it was like stuff we already really like kind of knew. Apparently, they're redacting a bunch of stuff to protect people's identities, which is good, but like if like you're not really gonna share anything, maybe don't make this big ol' like hype thing and like coordinated, influencer rollout where everybody's like, ooh, I don't know, man. So that was kind of weird. This is kind of like a sensitive, I should say, it was maybe the word I was looking for earlier. It's kind of a sensitive issue. So why are we? I don't know, maybe we're just like making light of it, right? Now I do that with sensitive topics. I'm like, I don't know how to handle sensitive topics, so I just like to crack jokes or like, make light of things. That's how I do things. I get it. So, but like with this, I don't know. Maybe not the play. I found it a little weird. Maybe y'all thought it was like funny too, or like thought it was appropriate. I don't know. I thought that was a little bit strange. Let me get a little sip of water, dude. I'm getting dry mouth over here talking. Anyways, so yeah, we had the Epstein files thing, and I guess we're still waiting on them to do the next stage of their marketing plan, their rollout for that. Make sure, we get a lot of eyeballs on the influencers, I guess. That's cool for them. They can capitalize off of this sensitive situation, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I don't know I don't know all the details, but anyways, so then we had that in the political things, and then we had. So let's move into the Zelensky meeting, right? So Zelensky comes to the White House to sign a deal with Trump, mineral rights thing between the U.S. and the Ukraine, with implications on the war and blah blah blah. So basically, the part that went viral and went crazy and got everybody worked up was the big argument that kind of erupted at the end of the meeting. And it's, it's all televised. It's all out there. Do we say televised still? It's on the social media. It's on the social medias. I saw it on X, minutes after it happened. And yeah, they kind of get in like this, little shouting match. It's Zelensky, and then it's Trump, and then JD Vance. And they're sitting there in the White House, they're hashing this out, and they're hashing it out just right there for all the cameras to see. And I think it was like not really planned to be that way, right? I think this was supposed to be a thing. Basically, so I guess before I get into it, but to me, what happened was, or what it seems like people are saying what happened is this was supposed to be sort of kind of a done deal, right? Like the part in front of the cameras is kind of just a formality, like, hey, look, we're going to kind of showcase what's going on. Well, Zelensky decided to take this spotlight moment and get in here and ask for more money, basically. Like, hey, no, the U.S., you guys got to help me out. Y'all got to keep helping me out. And Trump and Vance took pretty good exception to this. And dude, JD Vance, people likened him to a pit bull, and he jumped all over him. Him being Zelensky, that is. He jumped all over Zelensky and was like, hey, I've never even once heard you say even like thank you, and now you're out here like asking for more money, basically. Like, he jumps all over him, right? And Trump just kind of let him, so which is a lot of people pointed out is pretty fascinating, because Trump hasn't really had anybody where he like trusts them to do the I guess for lack of a better term, jumping all over people. Usually Trump's like, I'll take care of it. But he let JD Vance do it. And, then chimed in when appropriate and was like, yeah, he just kept telling Zelensky, you don't have any cards. You got bad cards, or you don't have any cards. You don't have the cards, pal. You don't got the cards, pal. Like they're playing a game of Uno. There is a funny video circulating around in Edit where it is Zelensky and Trump from the meeting playing Uno. Look that up. That's a pretty funny one. But it's a good edit, because they do talk about cards a lot there in that. Like, I think it's like 8-minute clip where everybody's kind of jumping all over each other. And Zelensky's like, I didn't come here to play cards. Like, no, like, not literally, dude. We know you don't actually, like, yes, you don't actually literally have any cards right now. Like, it's figure of speech, man. I know maybe he doesn't speak English super well, but that one was like, I was like, ooh, he didn't like get the thing there, the figure of speech. But yeah, and then I didn't like the part where Zelensky was like, oh, because he was saying like, oh, well, it's nice that y'all have an ocean between you and everything that's going on. Talking about us, the U.S. He's like, oh, you got an ocean between y'all. He said, but you'll feel it. You'll feel it. That won't. Basically, he was like, the ocean won't matter. Eventually, you will feel it, and you will. And Trump was like, now hold on a second, bucko. Trump's like, you're not going to tell me what we're going to feel, like, which cracked me up, because he's just like, hey, get out of here, man. You're not going to tell us what we're going to feel. Dude, we'll handle feeling what we're going to feel. You don't worry about that. And, I kind of like, I can't lie. I kind of like Trump, man. He cracks me up, dude. But, yeah, so that meeting went off the rails. Lots of different interpretations of what was going on. A lot of people that are like more on the left-leaning side were like likening Trump and Vance and our administration now to like sucking up to Putin and like, just basically giving Putin what he wants. And then, people on the right are like, oh, hell yeah, dude. We have some friggin' men in the office that will put people in their place and tell them what's going on and actually lead our country, and whichever side you're on, maybe the meeting didn't go super well, I think. I mean, let me rephrase that. I don't think it was, I think the meeting, like, that needed to be said. I just felt like it could have been handled maybe a little bit more gracefully, a little bit more tactfully. when I first watched it, I was like a little uncomfortable, right? I was like, because because like I agreed with what Vance and Trump are doing, but I was like, man, do we, is this really where we want to like, I don't know, be cross talking over each other? It just looked really like disorganized and like crazy. And like, I'm watching like a White House thing, right? Why are we having a screaming match? Not really screaming, that nobody was really yelling, but like everybody was arguing over the top of each other, talking over the top of each other. And it was just, which is, Trump does that. Okay. I knew Trump did that. I didn't know Vance was also going to be a part of that. And Zelensky was a part of that. Everybody was a part of it. They were all like, you know, I'm like, we're here to hash things out and y'all are just me over the top of each other, you know? And there was moments where it's like, I can't understand what anybody's saying. Yeah, I felt like, I was like, this is like an official thing. Like maybe let's treat it as such. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. Somebody said that, it was on Twitter somewhere. I didn't save it, so I can't like pop it up on the screen on YouTube or anything. But, somebody's like, oh man, we finally have some people in the White House that are being masculine and, you know, saying what needs to be said. And like people have been so used to like the more effeminate sort of handling of these affairs that it looks bad like that, right? And I was like, oh shit, dude, am I a victim of that? Am I just like looking at this like sort of effeminately just because it's been so vilified for so long that we do things like that? You know, I don't know. That's up for me to figure out on my own, and up for all of y'all to figure out on your own how you interpret it. But yeah, interesting meeting that definitely got everybody stirred up. No deal was signed. No mineral deal was signed because they did all that arguing and then kicked Zelensky out, and he left without signing some kind of deal. Trump addressed Congress last night and said that now they're planning on working together on something. So it took a couple days, but it ended up working in Trump's favor. We'll talk about the Congress address here in a little bit, but I did want to mention that because it wasn't a total loss, and it looks like Trump's plan worked, as it seems to do. Like there's a little cycle that it follows, and I'm not going to say he wins on everything, definitely not, but as far as like, you know, trying to get what, you know, the art of the deal kind of situation, you know, getting what he wants out of a deal. He's pretty good at it historically, and it seems like it's worked that way again. But it was funny. I saw another post talking about like they literally ate Zelensky's lunch, man. Like so he left. He's like, oh, okay, you don't want to sign, you don't want peace, you don't want to sign the mineral deal, blah, blah, blah. Well, all right, you can leave. And so he left, and they had a lunch prepared for after this deal, but you know, he blew up the basically, again, like formality, like, okay, let's smile and be pretty in front of the camera. He took that moment to get in the spotlight and try and get more money, and just kind of blew the whole thing up. So they're like, all right, get out. And so they have extra spots at the table for this lunch that they were going to do after the whole thing. And so they just fed Zelensky's lunch to some staffers and stuff, because it's like, well, now we got this spare lunch. We're not going to let it go to waste. Here you go. So they literally ate Zelensky's lunch at that meeting, which is, you know, some people would applaud that. Some people won't. It is what it is. But another thing about the whole Zelensky deal, too, was they were roasting his clothes. You know, the clothes came into consideration on that, because he doesn't ever wear a suit, right? Somebody that was in the room was like, "Hey, and you didn't even wear a suit or something in here," and it was, and that was another one of those things where I was like, "Dude, who are you?" You know, I don't remember who said it now. I'd have to look it up, or y'all can look it up, whatever. But he was like, "Yeah, oh, do you own a suit?" Somebody said, like, "Hey, shut up, man. Hey, who are you chiming in from the peanut gallery, dude?" Some guy off camera. "Hey, you even got a suit?" What, man? Dude, we're trying to do a White House thing. Hey, who's talking in the back? Hey, who's this guy? You know? Oh man, I thought it was kind of a fiasco. Honestly, a lot of right wingers were like, "Oh, dude, that meeting was badass, America," and I was just like, I mean, yeah, but it could have been done better. I think it could have been done better myself. I don't know. Like, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But yeah, so let's that's all I got on the Zelensky meeting. So we'll kind of switch lanes just a little bit here, and we'll move to talking about, so Trump addressed Congress last night, big televised event deal. I tuned in and watched a little bit of it. I caught the very beginning, or I missed the very beginning, but I caught it from then on. It went on about 100 minutes, I saw, and he just kind of addressed everything that's some of the stuff we've talked about on the podcast and, already. So I won't go through all of that, but just pretty much all the big stuff that's happened since it was kind of like he was kind of doing like a highlight reel for the presidency so far, that sort of thing. And, it's the room, you got everybody in there, left side, right side, everybody's in there. And I thought it was funny. This is like a comedy show, honestly. Like, to me, anytime he's up in front of the camera giving speeches, dude, I chuckle like probably a handful of times. And this is politics, man. We're watching politics, and I'm chuckling. It's a comedy over here, man. And I don't say that as like a, left or right. It's funny to me. Like, the dude is funny. Trump is funny, man. Love him or hate him, I think the dude, he makes me chuckle, man. He's got jokes, and he trolls, man. He is trolling. He called Warren Pocahontas last night, right there in the room. That joke. He just laid that on out there. He had a couple. He had several one-liners, man. He's always got some kind of one-liner after he reads something. I mean, I should have wrote them all down so I could list through some of them. But if you watched it, you probably, know what I'm talking about. Now, some people are going to, I know for a fact, a bunch of y'all Americans out there, at least half of you, if we're going to go 50-50 right and left, y'all hate the one-liners. You're like, dude, what the fuck is this guy? This is so like cornball shit, I don't want to listen to our president tell jokes in the congressional address. But I mean, hey, we're all watching. We're watching politics and we're laughing. That's something different, I guess. It's, again, like I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's never boring, right? So with Trump, it's never boring. But he goes through a lot of, like I said, the highlight reel. There was some, really heartfelt moments. He recognized a lot of people. Got to talking about Butler, Pennsylvania, and the father that died in Butler, protecting his family. There was a little bit of a moment to honor them and various others. The 13-year-old kid that survived brain cancer was there. He got a commemorative, like, he's part of the Secret Service now, which I thought was a really cool moment. And, so there's stuff like this happening in this address, and, like, apparently none of the Democrats are applauding, like, any of it. I'm like, dude, put your beliefs aside for a second. We've got a 13-year-old kid over here that's gone through, I mean, we can't even comprehend the struggle with the cancer. A lot of us can't. Some people. Anyways, a lot of us can't even comprehend that. And, they can't even cheer on this 13-year-old kid, like, getting, like, basically a dream answered, more or less, and I've seen some posts and some videos of stuff that kid said. It's terrible. I can't remember his name right now. What is his name? Daniel something, right? What was his name? DJ Daniel. Yeah, DJ Daniel. That's a cool moment. We can't even, like, as liberals in that room, you can't even, like, sort of congratulate him. Like, it's not related to politics at that point. And And, I felt like there were several moments in that Trump thing. Now, there was definitely very political moments, and there was some left side bashing and stuff like that. Again, the Pocahontas bit, and he had several digs at the liberals and the Democrats over the course of that address. But there was also some other, like, just not really related to politics moments, like, hey, maybe we could clap for the 13-year-old kid. That's just the way I see it. I like put our differences aside for a second, and let's, congratulate the young man. That's very cool that he was honored, and a lot more people like get to know his story now, and he recognized a lot of guests, and I thought that was really cool. Now I personally chuckled at some of the. Obviously, y'all can tell I chuckled at the jokes. Dude, there was the one joke. What was it, dude? Man, one was just like a mic drop, man. Dude, I should have looked this up beforehand, but I didn't. Dude, I was like, oh man. Oh man. He just said that, huh? Oh yeah, okay, I found it. Sorry about that. Dude, when he said, the media and our friends in the Democrat Party kept saying, we need a new legislation. We must have legislation to secure the border. Mr. Trump said, but it turns out all we needed was a new president. Dude, when he said, I was like, dude, that's a boom, a mic drop. Now, again, some if you're left leaning, you're probably like, oh, dude, what the fuck, that's so cringe. But I was like, boom, got him, Now, I've heard that, like, maybe that crackdown's not going as well as it should. The numbers are not quite there. They've, not what they were hyping it up to be, I don't think. Now I don't know official numbers or anything, but he said some stuff like that. He said, when he was introducing, Robert Kennedy, he said that, based on Kennedy's name, basically he figured this side of the room over here would be cheering a little bit more, judging by his name. But, the Democrats don't really like Kennedy anymore. So, wow, how the times change, or something he said. But, so yeah, it was an interesting meeting. Sorry if I don't have all the details. When have I ever had all the details on this show? But I just wanted to talk about it. I was sitting there, dude, I was playing Battlefield last night, watching that. I was just, I had it over here on the other monitor, and I was like, okay, I better check this out while it's going on, and be sure to talk about it as crappily as possible on my podcast. But, it's, so a lot of people are talking about that today. And that's, oh, look, here's a video of DJ Daniel right here on my X feed, hugging Trump in the Oval Office. That's maybe today, perhaps? Oh yeah, DJ Daniel, the newest member of the United States Secret Service, meets President Trump in the Oval Office. It's a video of him going in there. He's in full uniform and everything. He's there with his dad, and he's meeting Trump right there at the desk. It's pretty cool. That's pretty cool for the young man. That's pretty cool. So again, I say cheer for stuff like that. Anyways, let's move on. We talked a little bit about the Doge department, or whatever the heck it's called, that Musk is doing last week. And I wanted to talk about the NWS, the National Weather Service, the NWS. They recently got doged hardcore, and a lot of NWS employees have been fired. And I think that it's probably not a good plan right now, because we're going into the severe weather season. So why are we, dude, I don't know. I mean, I guess we can only hope that Doge knows what they're doing, right? I posted a TikTok related to last week's, it's just a little snippet of last week's episode with the Doge clip, and a lot of people were very, very against what Elon's doing. They say, who the hell's Elon? Why are we letting him do all this and blah blah blah? And so yeah, a lot of people don't like it, and we got the NWS stuff going on now, right heading into severe weather season. Now, there's different severe weather seasons depending on where you're at in the country, but down here in Texas, we are getting springtime is our severe weather season. It's just about to get started. Down around this whole region, really. Now, if you're kind of like Louisiana, the states kind of between Texas and Florida, they're along the Gulf of America. Your severe weather season, has kind of already been started. There's been, it's kind of been pretty active last couple of months. But yeah, anyways, bad time I think personally, just bad time for the NWS firings to happen. I hope we've got everything covered, because this is the wrong time of year to be going into things understaffed. I've read some stuff like there's certain radar sites now that are just like, are we going to have people to man these radar sites? If not, we go down a radar site. That's taking away critical information from people in dangerous situations, especially particularly dangerous situations that, again, we're going to be getting into that time of year, and those PDS tornadoes and stuff like that are going to start, they're going to start firing up as we head into the summertime and things start warming up. But I did want to say that it's a little bit funny that the NWS firings are happening right now, because in Oklahoma, there's actually a bill or, some kind of legislation where they're like cracking down, basically trying to crack down on the whole storm chaser fad that's going on. Some people may know there's a storm chaser fad, some people may not, but so I don't know, is it really a fad? Anyways, it's a little bit more popular than it used to be. We have YouTubers now, a bunch of them. I just kind of got into this realm myself last year, watching YouTubers like Max Velocity and Ryan Hall and Reed Timmer and all those guys. There's a bunch of them, more than I can name. I follow a bunch on Twitter now too. So shout out those guys, and thank you for everything you do to make sure that people are informed about storms and stuff like that. But they've been talking about, there's been a lot of buzz in the last couple of weeks about a bill in Oklahoma that is like, you have to have a license or whatever to like storm chase in Oklahoma or something. And it's like really a hindrance. It's a very big inconvenience for people trying to storm chase in Oklahoma, which is a huge place to storm chase because they get so many tornadoes. There's a bunch of tornadoes in Oklahoma, if you don't know. And, these guys do a lot of reporting on those situations in Oklahoma and in North Texas. But Oklahoma is where it matters, because that's where they're trying to do this legislation to basically what I don't know the details. I'll try and muck it up here for y'all. But the legislation's like, okay, you have to have this license, and if you don't have this license, you can't be out there storm chasing with the lights and doing all this stuff like these private guys do, like these YouTubers do. It's like you have to be affiliated with a quote-unquote official news media, weather station in order to get this license. Like, you can't even just like get it. You have to be like affiliated with a news or media network. And so it's making, it's just like this weird, like, they're trying to, maybe the networks are like lobbying or something for this, because these YouTubers become insanely popular, and people are getting their, like, legit getting their severe weather forecasts, and they're up to date severe weather information from these YouTubers. And so it's just a bad time. It's funny, not funny, haha, but just like, it's funny that now, okay, Doge is firing NWS employees, which are, they're needed on one front, the official front, they ensure that all of this happens, whether you're a media or, local weather station or whatever. NWS provides the data. Or if you're a private YouTuber, NWS provides the data. So on the official side, we're getting rid of NWS. And then on another official side, we're like, okay, but you're not going to do any YouTube storm chasing. or anything without a license. So it's like, okay, so we're just not informing the people about tornadoes anymore. Okay, that's what we're doing? Okay. Hey, if you see tornado, good luck. Most of the time they're rain wrapped, or can be. So also good luck. We're just good luck. Okay. Any kind of weather information is banished now. That's what's going on. It's the weather alerting is getting assaulted from all sides, which is insane. So that's what I mean. It's not. It's funny timing. People say funny, but it's not actually funny. It's kind of unfortunate. Anyways, not funny, haha, but just kind of a funny coincidence that it's just, it's a mess. Anyways, so that's weather. Dude, where are we at? Been talking for, 40 minutes here? Take another sip of water on y'all. Let's see. This ran a little bit long. Okay, I mentioned football. We'll talk about football. I have some other stuff in here, but I guess let me run through the football stuff. We'll just do the little bits and pieces off the notes now, I guess. Stuff that doesn't really fit anywhere else. But yeah, football has been really busy this week. We had what was the deadline? The free agency or franchise tag. That's what it was. The franchise tagging deadline was yesterday. So there was a lot of activity. People trying to figure out, okay, are we franchise tagging this player? Are we not? T. Higgins got of the Cincinnati Bengals. T. Higgins got franchise tagged again, 2 years in a row. That seems kind of messed up, but I believe T tweeted just one word, tagged again. So he's probably not happy about it. I don't think the players are usually very happy to be franchise tagged, but it's what it is. Debo got traded. That was a big bit of news. Before I jump to that, yeah. So T was there was a lot of candidates, right, for franchise tagging, but I think T was the only one that did. A lot of the players got deals and stuff like that. I think the Vikings were tossing around the idea of franchise tagging Darnold, but they didn't. I think they're going to let him just kind of ride to free agency, but still try to make a deal, something like that. But anyways, yeah, let's move on to the Debo trade here. The 49ers sent Debo Samuel to the Washington Commanders for a 5th-round pick, which, excuse me, for me as a Dallas Cowboys fan, kind of sucks. Because Debo Samuel is obviously Debo Samuel. He's a quality player. And nothing against Jonathan Mingo, but Dallas traded for Jonathan Mingo for a 4th-round pick, which is 4 is higher than 5. But then the Commanders, they got Debo for a 5th. So that's pretty lame. Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard, they are out for the Jets. And Aaron Rodgers is out for the Jets. So the little Packers reunion in New York is over. That experiment is over. I don't know what's the Jets are in flux. Can't talk. Running out of juice here. Max Crosby got paid. I noticed that earlier today. So that's pretty cool. He is now the highest paid non-QB player in the league. He got an insane, crazy deal, 106 something million for a couple years. That's pretty insane. The Jags are going to let Christian Kirk go. They're going to let him walk. Christian Kirk is an old Texas A&M Aggies wide receiver. So I had to mention him. Texas A&M. Got my ring on. For those that are not watching the YouTube, I got my A&M ring on right now. So I keep tabs on the Aggies, We got to see where Myles Garrett ends up. Speaking of Aggies, we don't know what's going to go on there. And then we got some other big news today. The Seahawks are letting Tyler Lockett go. Finally, dude, end of an era over there for Tyler Lockett, and they are also opening the door for DK Metcalf to get a trade. So DK Metcalf's on the trading block. Interesting candidate, again, as a Dallas fan. We need somebody opposite CD. Now, we'd have to pay a lot. I don't know if they've doodled the cap enough on getting somebody like DK, but we do need somebody opposite CD. I don't know if that's the route they should go. There's a lot of wide receivers available now because you got Cooper Kupp that's potentially out there. You got DK Metcalf, Devontae Adams. The wide receiver market is increasing as we kind of head towards next season. So there's going to be a lot of wide receivers out there. And so it'll be interesting to see how that one shakes out. But news is still incoming. Again, I'm a Dallas Cowboys fan from Texas. So CD got his deal restructured yesterday. Dax, I think, restructured. I think I read that earlier. And the Cowboys signed Osa Odigizua. So they're making some, I hate to say it, dude, they're making some good moves. And I'm getting real tempted to buy back in. I can't do it, man. It's been a couple years of this where now last year was horrendous. Offseason, terrible. Didn't buy in at all. The year before that, dude, I was thinking we were in it, man. You know, I was bought in. Dude, they had me fooled, like, even throughout the whole season, and then again just to exit in the playoffs. But I don't know. They're making some good moves. So we'll see what Dallas does. You know, we got a lot of unknowns heading into next season. I mean, I don't know who we're gonna have. So I don't know who they're going to draft. I don't know what's going on. But the coaching changes ended up being like maybe halfway decent. Maybe that's just my hopium, but coaching changes seem halfway decent. At first when it was like just Schottenheimer, I was like, oh fuck, man, I don't know. But the complimentary staff that's been put around him, it's like, okay, that's kind of good. And now they're like, you know, they're signing the players they need to sign. They're restructuring deals. We're gonna hopefully get one done with Micah Parsons. It's like, okay, I'm getting tempted to buy in here and maybe have a little sip of the Kool-Aid, as they say. You know, we them boys? Are we them boys? Maybe. But, so that's the sports news. What else do I got in here, dude? So this is sort of like a wild, like non-existent segue. I don't have a segue for it, but Shrek is gonna have a new movie. Shrek 5. Is it 5? I think it's 5. Shrek 5. I don't remember what it was because people got so worked up about the redesign, the quote-unquote redesign of Shrek. This past week, there was a lot of people I had so much Shrek on my feed this past week because Shrek looks different. Oh, Shrek's ugly. Hey, dude, newsflash: Shrek's always been ugly. He's an ogre. But no, people are like, dude, Shrek. What did they do to him? What did they do to my boy Shrek? And I've looked and. Maybe I'm just not as big a Shrekky as some people, but I mean, yeah, he looks like a little bit different, but I just kind of. When did the last Shrek come out? Or like, if we're equating it to the first Shrek, that was forever ago. So I don't. Maybe it's just 2025, and so movies look a little bit different. Now, they don't really have to. Again, we can make them, I guess, like the old ones. But, dude, people got really worked up. They're very upset about Shrek being redesigned. Something about his eyes being closer together. And somebody was like, he looks old. Well, I'm like, well, I mean, the movie's supposed to be in the future. He has a kid that's, I mean, who else? Zendaya. Of course, it's Zendaya. Zendaya's in everything. Shout out Zendaya, I guess. Maybe she's gonna be on this podcast too. Dude, that'd be wild. I'd be like, oh fuck. But yeah, no, Zendaya's in everything. So I mean, anyways, Shrek's older. So yeah, he's gonna look a little bit older. I'm sure they factored that in. couple of character designs have been tweaked. I mean, they're not gonna like. I don't guess. Now they could nail it like 1-to-1, 100% if they wanted, right? But you know, I mean, why? Like they probably wanted to take a little bit of creative freedom, or maybe they're, you know, working with some different kind of animation software or something, and they can't quite get the look replicated, or they didn't want to. Some people were claiming like AI, like, dude, y'all are so quick to claim AI on everything. Dude, this podcast is AI. Everything's AI. We're just living in the AI's world now. But all that to say, I don't think it's AI. You know, I don't think everything is AI. Maybe it is. I don't know. It doesn't look AI to me. I just feel like people like to scream AI. Now, some stuff you're like, yeah, that's AI, and it shouldn't be. Like, dude, Coca-Cola did a holiday ad. Right? It was Coca-Cola, I think. They did the holiday ad that was AI. At least they disclaimed it at the bottom. They were like, hey, we made all this with AI. People were like, why? Why'd you do that? You could have just hired somebody. Which I agree. Like, we have artists out there that are literally like trying to make a living doing that. And yeah, people just use AI now. So that kind of sucks. I thought we were supposed to be all about like giving Americans jobs. And meanwhile, we're using AI to get an inferior product from not an artist, but from a computer. Anyways, how much time I got, dude? 52 minutes here, according to my recording software's timer. Let's see what else is in the notes, man. Speaking of AI, actually, that's a pretty good segue. I was just talking about the AI. A lot of people are liking Grok 3. Elon and X's AI. Dude, a lot of people are liking Grok 3. And, dude, they're like, I've seen a lot of sentiment actually that people are moving on from Google to use Grok. Now, I know a lot of people have moved on from Google already to do like ChatGPT, like, oh, just ChatGPT it. But I've actually seen a lot of sentiment on X. Now, it could be my timeline being biased with the algorithm and stuff. That's always a possibility with stuff I see and with stuff you see. You should keep that in mind. But, yeah, people are saying like, you know how people say like, oh, just Google it. I have long been a proponent myself of, oh, just Google it. Oh, you need to know something? Google it. Like, you can ask any of my family and like friends. Like, I have long been a proponent of just Google it. That's how I know how to do anything I know how to do, is because, oh, I just Googled it. But now people are saying, oh, just Grok it. Oh, just Grok it. And I'm like, dude, that's weird. That's weird. It's got to be super weird if you're Google, right? Because you've been just this dominant force on the internet. You're freaking Google, right? Like, dude, we're Google. We're untouchable. And now people are talking about like, maybe we'll just Grok it. Because here's the thing with Grok. And I hate to be this person, because now I'm going to say, fuck it, I'll say it. Like, I've been like a dude, kind of a Google fanboy. You know, I got the Google Pixel. I use Google Chrome. I'm in the Google ecosystem. There's a Google speaker right behind me right now. Like, I got the Google, okay? And I kind of like Grok. Grok's pretty good. I can get on Grok 3 and I can, I'd be like, hey, I need to know such and such and such and such, but make sure that you such and such and such and such. Like, there's so many things, like, very specifically that you can ask Grok to do, and then he'll take to Google. And now Grok Googles, but he looks on X and Google and does a bunch of the deep search function on Grok 3 is very, very neat. It'll give you up-to-date information and all that. I'm not just trying to shill Grok 3. It's actually like, it's the first time I've used one of these AIs where I'm like, okay, this is actually like fucking useful, because it does what I used to do when I would say, hey, just Google it. It does that, but it does it in like 1 minute versus me spending an entire afternoon trying to comb through a bunch of resources. And then it's like, okay, I need to clarify, oh, don't look up this, but look up this, it'll do it. And I just think it's like, I think it's pretty neat. So yeah, just grok it, man. Now this is, I haven't seen this anywhere really, but I think Google needs to shape up, man. This is just like a personal anecdote. Google needs to shape up, dude. Their products have been pissing me off. My Chromecast hardly fucking works anymore. Like, Hulu and Google need to get that figured out, because that just, I mean, barely functions at this point. It's insane. There's a bunch of like little hangups and stupid things I have with it. Like, a lot of times, I talked about that Google speaker I have behind me. I'll ask the Google Assistant to do something. Half the time now, it doesn't even like fucking hear me. So I have to ask it twice. That's annoying. Or it does hear me and then just doesn't do what I asked. That's annoying. It didn't used to do that. They tried to force Gemini into their entire like assistant ecosystem, and that flopped hard. It took away most of the functionality because they couldn't get it to work with Gemini. And so now you've got users split between the old assistant and Gemini, and that's just terrible. So like development for one or the other, like it's like split. I think actually they're probably not even developing the assistant anymore. The better one that things actually worked. It's just a mess. Like, there's stuff on the Pixel phone that like doesn't work right anymore. It's just, I feel like Google is honestly dropping the ball. Okay. I used to really like their stuff. Again, fanboy, like, dude, I'd shill for Google, but, dude, maybe not anymore, man. Maybe not anymore. They, need to get it together, because like, I want it to work. Like, I like the idea behind their ecosystem, I'm not a big fan of Apple. I just, I've always liked sort of the more open nature of Android, more customizable nature of Android. But dude, if Google keeps like just making their stuff buggy and just like not work anymore, I guess I'm going to have to switch, dude. I hate to say that, it's crazy, but is what it is. So Google needs to step up, dude, or Elon needs to make a freaking like Twitter phone, and I'll get a freaking Twitter phone, an X phone, and we'll have an iPhone and an X phone, and those will be the warring factions next. I don't know, but yeah, dude, are we done? I think we're done. Maybe my computer's probably gonna like shut off, or I'm gonna get like eaten by my robot vacuum because it's connected to Google now, something like that, because I just spent all this time bashing on them. So yeah, I think maybe we'll be done. I do have one more little thing on there, but it's going to take a long time to talk about, so we may save that one for later. As details emerge on it, I'll just leave y'all on a cliffhanger on that one. But hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'm trying to keep it from getting too long. I don't want it to get like too insanely over an hour. Y'all don't want to listen to me rattle on that long. But thank you for listening to me rattle on this long. Episode 3 has been fun. Today's been a good day. Dude, the sun's actually legit shining in the window right now. I'm having a good time, but my voice is getting tired. I will post this episode on YouTube. You're probably watching this on YouTube. I gotta see if we can actually start getting this on some podcast platforms. But beyond YouTube, be sure to follow me on TikTok and on X. Those will be at HotSauceZee for now. I may end up changing those up as we kind of get a new identity. That's HotSauceZee, HotSauceZee on there. And let's see, what else do I got to plug, man? You're already watching on here. So yeah, the TikTok and the YouTube and the X and Twitch. I won't do a lot of, we can do some commentary stuff kind of like this over on Twitch. I've historically just done Battlefield gaming over there. We do have, I can talk about Battlefield on this podcast too. There's not a lot to talk about right now. Battlefield Labs apparently did just open today. But that's, again, a story for another time. So, but if you do want to follow on Twitch, I'll be doing some Battlefield streaming and stuff on there, especially once the new game launches either at the end of this year or early next year. So y'all go check out the socials, please. Subscribe, like this, comment if you like. All that stuff helps the algorithm, helps signal to me to keep going. I thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to getting the next episode put together for you guys as we rattle on about some more topics in the future. Y'all have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you next time.